The future of work and leadership always starts with us. Welcome to the Dr. Ginny Show. Let's dive in. Welcome to this episode of the Dr. Ginny Show. I have been speaking with many of my colleagues, other coaches in the industry, professionals in their learning and development field, and we have been discussing where we are as a country, where we are as organizations, and where our number one interest, is to keep our talent educated, growing, and elevating. We've noticed a pattern that many of our partners are in this paralysis mode right now, where everyone's trying to figure out what to do given the executive orders that address diversity, equity, and inclusion. And of course, every business is looking to ensure that they don't jeopardize any contracts that they may have with the federal government, etc., so that we all comply with anything that has been set out, and at the same time that we don't dismiss the value and importance of continuing to develop our leaders and our talent. As companies, it is our responsibility to ensure that the people who are working for us, the employees, the teams that are in place to execute on the strategies that our senior leadership is setting forward, that they are prepared, have the skill set and capabilities to ensure success. And if that's the case, I want to share with you what I learned during my research this past month, which was quite eye-opening. So thank you for being with us here in the Dr. Ginny Show. This is a safe space for us to discuss these types of issues openly, to raise any questions that we have about what is happening and how it's impacting you, your teams, your leadership, and the adverse consequences that it could have if we ignore to continue to develop our talent. So in my book, no matter what the situation is, no matter what the climate may be, it is always about people and letting our people reach their full potential, unlocking the potential of our clients, unlocking the potential of our talent. From that angle, there are some insights that I discovered that I want to share with you today. And these were very eye-opening because to me, foundationally, our number one job as coaches, as leaders, is to lead, engage, and influence our talent, to deliver results, to set the vision, to remove obstacles, and to solve problems that will lead us to the best outcomes. And so when I think about what we do as coaches and leaders, as a coach, I am all in, invested in developing our talent, developing your talent within your organizations. So I ask the question, what are the core predictive factors for employee retention or turnover? And when I asked this question, 11 answers came back. 11 factors that influence your employees' retention and turnover. Why is this meaningful? As organizations, we spend so much time, energy, effort, and money recruiting the right talent. Then we bring them on board. We then train them in whatever the role is that they are now executing. And after many months of training, we finally have an employee who can perform at full potential because they have the knowledge, the information, and the tools they need to do that. Now, what happens if along the lines this is disruptive and now the employee that needs to acquire certain skill sets, mindsets, and skills in general, leadership skills, when that is interrupted? So these are the 9 out of the 11 factors that leadership development and talent development will help you address, that will improve the retention and the turnover of your team. So are you ready for this? I was quite taken by these factors, and I'm so excited to share them with you because as you listen to what these are and how they manifest, I would like to invite you to think about how am I using and leveraging these factors to retain our top talent once we spend all this time and money investing in them so they can become the most productive for us. So here they are. The first factor that when you engage in talent development is influenced is career growth and development opportunities. This is one factor where lack of advancement or skill development increases your turnover risk. So as you can see, if you provide career growth and if you provide opportunities for your talent to develop, that is one of the factors that would influence the retention or turnover of that employee. Something as simple as providing this training. I've been in the industry now for over 30 years, and since day one, this has been fundamental. Providing development for your talent wherever they may be in the organization. The second factor that is influenced when it comes to retention and turnover is leadership and manager effectiveness. So you've heard the quote that people don't leave companies, people leave leaders. If we have individual contributors that were high performing and we promote them to become leaders and don't provide the training and the development they need to build up their leadership skills and managerial skills, that leader, albeit somebody with a title of leader and manager, will not have what is required to become a great mentor, a coach, and someone who can effectively lead and manage someone. So that's another factor where investing in your leadership development for talent development is going to pay in dividends. The third factor, and I'm going to go through this fairly quickly because I know I don't want to make this too long, is employee engagement and job satisfaction. Now, what I'm sharing with you is backed up by research. In the case of employee engagement, highly engaged employees are 87% less likely to leave. And of course, the source for this is Gallup, right? They are one of the go-to sources, credible sources on employee engagement. So when you are developing your leaders, you are engaging them in your culture. You are engaging with them in their career development. And that obviously increases their job satisfaction. The next factor that influences employee retention and turnover is workplace culture and psychological safety. It is known that inclusive, safe, and healthy cultures significantly impact retention. And I'm sure you have experienced as a leader or an individual contributor, you've experienced what it's like to work in a toxic culture, or perhaps even when you work for a great company, sometimes the culture within certain departments is different than the company's culture. So when you are working for a leader who's ineffective, that has a lot of behaviors such as favoritism and losing their stuff, if you may, and are pulling tantrums during meetings, yelling at people, screaming, using language that is not respectful, etc., that creates an unhealthy work culture. And people tend to flee at the first opportunity they find to do so. So when you develop your leaders, you help to create a workplace culture and psychological safety where people feel free to give and receive feedback, where people don't believe they're going to be retaliated against when they do, and where leaders and employees can be vulnerable to share, to be transparent about what is happening and know that they are in a safe space, that we're not going to use what they share with us against them. The next factor to consider when it comes to employee retention and turnover is workload and job stress and burnout. When you provide leadership development for your people, for your talent, and at least with executive bound, I know this is one of the focus that we have is how do we improve mental health? How do we reduce burnout? How do we help our leaders who are overextended already to create, number one, the mindset around mental health and well-being and how to get rid of this negative self-talk that is constantly running through someone's mind unless they become more mindful. So a lot of organizations, I'm preaching to the choir, are now providing wellness and well-being tools and resources that their employees can leverage. When we also bring talent development to your company, this is one of the areas that you can bring in as well to improve the overall job stress and burnout. Because if we have our employees and we want them to be high performing, when they are in burnout, that is the least thing we're going to see, high performance. Another factor that's influenced by talent and talent development is recognition and appreciation. Providing your employees with the opportunity to grow their skills and build competencies that they need to develop, you are recognizing and appreciating them. So this is also one of the factors that improves retention and diminishes turnover. And the source for this is Deloitte and Randstad USA that says that excessive workload or poor work-life balance increases the attrition risk. As I mentioned earlier, please consider how are you taking these factors into account so that we are no longer operating blindfolded, but we are really clear about the efforts that we're putting into addressing each of these factors. The next one is alignment with company purpose and values. When, for example, you bring one of your leaders to our program, Elevate Her, one of the exercises that we work on is aligning the values of the company to the values of your leaders. It's so important and meaningful to ensure that the leader herself and himself are aligned with what they are doing at your company. And if you happen to find a misalignment, to then question how can we align around the values of the company and the values that I bring so that the work that you're doing has a lot more purpose for that leader. That is one other advantage of conducting leadership development for your talent and specifically for your leaders. The last two factors that I'm going to bring in today during this episode of the Dr. Ginny Show is team dynamics and social connections at work. One of the offerings that we have at Executive Bound is master classes. Master classes that can help your team elevate to that next level. They're actually called the Elevate Her Master Classes. And we have a program for the entire year that we share with our partners. These master classes can serve as a way to bring together connections at work so that your teams and employees can feel that sense of culture and community. And improve team dynamics because what happens is when you go to a training or a conference and you come back and you share with your team what you learned, notice what it does, right? If you send your leaders and teams to training, they have that in common and they can share what they learned, their takeaways, how they're going to apply what they learned on the job. And that is good for business. It's good for the community within your company. And the last factor that I want to highlight, that is one that's also under the umbrella of talent development and that we get to impact that factor positively is performance ratings and promotions. It is inevitable that if a leader is able to identify what is getting in my way right now of my next level from a place of self-leadership and then from a place of leading, engaging, and influencing others, that their performance will go up and their promotion is most likely waiting around the corner. It has to do a lot with owning your value, ensuring that you are adding the most value to the environment, building your network of allies and supporters, your sponsors, your mentors that can help you navigate the environment, having critical conversations with centers of influence, ensuring that the vision that you have for your team and the strategic plans that you want to move forward are also part of the conversations you're having with critical stakeholders. And most importantly, ensuring that you are impactful within your environment. This is going to help you be higher performing, and it's going to help you get that next level that you are seeking. So as you can see, 9 out of the 11 factors are influenced positively by talent and leadership development. And so the 2 factors that are not, are you ready? Are compensation and benefits. There's nothing we can do about your compensation and benefits, but think about that. How are we positioned compared to other employers as it relates to compensation and benefits? And finally, remote and hybrid work flexibility. That's another aspect that we don't have any control as coaches and as partners to support you in that area. Every other factor that I mentioned, and just to make a nice list at the end, career growth and development opportunities, leadership and manager effectiveness, employee engagement and job satisfaction, workplace culture and psychological safety, workload and job stress and burnout, recognition and appreciation, alignment with company purpose and value, team dynamics, social connections at work, and performance ratings and promotions. These are 9 factors that are predictive when it comes to employee retention and turnover. So if you're looking to influence those 9 factors on the positive side, I invite you to having a quick chat with me so we can explore how can we bring leadership development and talent development to your organization, and in turn support you in decreasing your turnover rates, increasing your retention rates. And at the end of the day, our job is to ensure that we give our talent the ability to unlock their potential. Because when they unlock that potential, they will be high performing, they will help reach your goals and objectives. It will help your company be more innovative. It will create a workplace where people want to go and work, and it will create a sense of well-being and community for everyone involved, including you and the leaders within your company and every single employee. So if that's something that resonates for you, that it is a top priority for you this year, let's connect. You can always find me at callwithginny.com, or you can email us directly at info@executivebound.com. If you enjoyed this content, and if you would like to share this with other leaders who you believe can benefit from what I've shared today, please copy this link to this podcast, to this video, and share it with your friends, share it with them, your colleagues, so that more people can hear it and more people can apply it. My number one goal is to ensure that I am fulfilling my potential and that I help my clients and I help my son fulfill theirs. Thank you for listening. I'll be here when you're ready. Live with purpose, lead with joy. I'll see you soon. If you enjoyed today's content, I appreciate your review so others can find us, and share it with your friends. And to stay in touch, join our community to receive valuable strategies and expert advice at drginnybaro.com. See you soon.